Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Cooking with Tovia. I'm Chef Tovia. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make this homemade pizza from scratch. Once you make this recipe, you'll be making it time and time again. The best part about this recipe, it uses instant yeast and it doesn't take a very long time to rise. You'll have dinner on the table in roughly an hour. You'll be able to find all the ingredients you'll need for today's demonstration in the description box under this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for new uploads on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And please follow me on social media. So in the pan mixer, I'm going to begin by adding my salt to my bread flour that I have here. And I'm going to add my yeast to this. I'm using instant yeast. If you're going to double or triple this recipe, you don't have to double or triple the amount of yeast. I'll get in more depth about yeast later, but just one package of yeast is enough to rise a substantial amount of flour. So I'm going to whisk the two together, and normally I would add sugar to it to help feed the yeast, but I'm not going to because I know that my yeast is active because I bake with my yeast almost daily. So I'm adding my warm water to this. Make sure your water is not higher than 120 degrees Fahrenheit. I try to keep it as, around 110ish degrees. For those who always ask, I'm using the Geek Chef stand mixer. It is a wonderful machine. You can find out more about Geek Chef, just check the description box. And then I'm going to add my olive oil to this. Now we're going to knead everything together. I'm using the dough hook. And I'm just going to mix this together. We have to determine if we have to add more flour to this or not. So we're just going to keep an eye on the dough. So it's been about a minute, and as you see, the dough is still quite sticky. So we're going to add some more flour to this. So I'm going to add about a half a cup more bread flour. Now if you don't have bread flour, you can use all-purpose flour. Try to use unbleached. But don't use anything like stuffed rising flour, cake flour to make bread dough that needs to be sturdy. So I'm just going to keep adding flour to this until we get a smooth and pliable dough. I have the machine on a higher speed to just sort of help it along, but as the dough is pulling together, I'm going to just turn the machine down. So you see the dough is beginning to come away from the sides of the bowl, which is a good thing. So I'm going to let this knead for about 2 minutes on speed number 1 on my Geek Chef. So I added enough flour to the dough is pliable. I use about 3 cups of flour, and as I'm going to show you, the dough is sort of sticky, but it's not sticking to my hands. I've been letting this knead for about 3 minutes. So it's almost where we want it. So I'm going to let this knead for another 3 minutes or so till the dough is pretty smooth. Okay, so this has been going about 6 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and just get just a scrape. I'm going to cover after pulling the dough together, I'm going to just cover it with plastic wrap. I'm just going to let this rest for about 10 minutes. Okay, so a significant amount of time has gone by. I know it's been longer than 10 minutes. So I'm going to turn my dough here to my surface. So I'm going to divide my dough in half, just right into 2 equal parts. Try to get it as even size as you can. Just start from the middle of your dough and just roll it the opposite direction. And I like to turn the dough to ensure that the dough is not sticking. If your dough starts to snap back in on you, just allow it to rest for 10 minutes and then continue to roll it out into a 12-inch circle. Then I'm going to pick my dough up here. I have a pizza pan. Just going to dust the bottom with some cornmeal. Cornmeal keeps it from getting wet and soggy in the bottom and helps the bottom stay nice and crisp. And just transfer our pizza dough here. a ladle here, and you can use whatever type of marinara sauce you desire to use, but I'm gonna just pour some of that sauce in the middle, and we're just gonna spread it outward. You need a little bit more sauce. Well, you can add some. Now, if you don't want to use tomato sauce, because you know there's people who are actually allergic to tomatoes, you can use a white garlic sauce. You can use Alfredo sauce. You can use ranch dressing. The choices are endless. You could do a garlic oil. I'm gonna just leave about a half inch or so of the edge of the crust here uncovered. The sauce. I have some freshly grated mozzarella cheese, and if you're going to actually grate it yourself, it's idea to put the block in the freezer first for a little bit, so that way it can firm up and it makes it easier for you to shred the cheese. I just love the flavor of dried oregano, so I'm just going to shake some dried oregano over. Then I have my pepperoni. If you don't eat pork, you can use turkey pepperoni, but I'm using gourmet pepperoni. Just gonna layer a few slices right now. Green peppers here that I sliced. I've sliced it fairly thin using my Dow Strong knife, and I got some thinly sliced onions here. I should have put these toppings on first, but it's okay. That's not too much. Now, before we put this in the oven, we're going to allow this to rise for about 10 minutes at room temp before we actually bake this pizza. So we need the crust to rise a little bit. Just okay, so we'll be back in about 15 minutes. So now the pizza is going to go in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes at 375 Fahrenheit. So here is the pizza. It took about 18 minutes to finish baking. I made an error at the temperature. It's 425 Fahrenheit. So I'm going to just use my knife. You can use a pizza wheel or some scissors to cut your pizza. I'm just going to do this really quickly. So here it is, the pizza. And of course you may notice that I added some olives to it. I did 2 pizzas. The crust is enough to make 2 pizzas. So when I did add olives. So you see the crust is not floppy. It's nice and brown. You see the cornmeal did a good job to keep it from getting soggy. And it did cool off a little bit, but here it goes. Guys, it's so good. It's easy to make, absolutely delicious, and this is perfect for when you want a pizza and you're in a hurry. No more worry. Please add this video to your playlist. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's tutorial, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave that in the comment section. Please remember to live and be well. Let's do what we can to love one another. Thanks.